Just gonna make sure that I am live and get me to a place where I can see you guys' comments. Okay. I am live. I can see y'all's comments if you guys comment. So with that being said, if you're here with me live, if you're catching the replay, say hey. Let me know that you're here. I love chatting with you guys. I've got something really cool planned for you guys today, or at least I think it's cool. This has really helped me in actually being able to achieve the goals that I set and not, being unrealistic with what I want to accomplish, which means like I'm setting my goals too high and then kind of setting myself up to disappoint myself inevitably, right? So I've really learned to break down the process in a way, and I've really built a habit of setting realistic goals and realistic expectations so that I am constantly moving forward. And I think that this is the first year of my life ever that I actually did like a New Year's resolution, but I kind of called it like my 2022 manifesto. And I actually legitly crossed everything off the list, and it's because I used this exact process. So I thought, what better way to kind of getting close to the end of the year to teach you guys the process that I use that really helped me actually achieve all of my New Year's goals that I set for 2022. And I am hella excited to make my manifesto for 2023 and do the same process. So I think you guys could really benefit from this. So again, if you're here with me live or you're catching the replay, say hey. Also, let me know if you guys have any questions or if this is helpful. I love getting your guys' feedback. It's really useful for me. And I also love to get to chat to you guys. And if you guys are able to join me live and comment below, I'm able to chat with you guys while I'm here. So it's awesome. So I love that. So if you're here, let me know. And I'm going to go ahead and get started, okay? So the first step that we have to do, or that I do for this process, is I need to be really clear. I need to have clarity on what it is I'm working towards, right? So there's nothing wrong with having big goals or big dreams, right? And we need to know those. We need to know what it is that we are ultimately working towards so that we can kind of go backwards and figure out where we actually need to start that's more realistic, that will build us up to those goals. Okay, so step one is think about all of the areas in your life. Okay, so in my life coach school, they called it like the big five, right? So that would be your health, your relationships, your career, your finances, and your spirituality, or like a connection to a higher power, whatever that means for you, right? So think about those big five areas, right? Everybody has goals usually in those big five areas, or maybe you don't have goals in one or some of those areas, but whatever is important to you, essentially, whatever your priorities are or whatever means something to you, you're going to want to figure out what are your goals in those areas, right? So most people's goals center around health, relationships, career, and finance. And then, of course, if you have that spiritual side, you might have some spiritual goals as well. So with that being said, the first thing that we need to do is we need to be really honest about where we are currently in this area, right? So if you are working on your health, and you're going to want to do this individually, right? So what are your goals for your health, right? Think about your physical and your mental health. Write all the goals down. What are your goals for your relationships? Think about all of your relationships and individually and all together, right? What are some of the things you want to do? For example, advance your communication, set better boundaries, spend more time with your loved ones, right? Like these could be goals. And then, so for each area, you write out all the goals that you want to work towards, right? So then, having those goals in mind, be honest with yourself about where you are currently, right? Where are you honestly at right now in your health, right? Like if you want to work out more, let's say you want to work out, period, right? where are you at now? Do you work out once a week? None. Where are you at, right? And be really honest with yourself where you are in terms of the goal that you're working towards, so that you know where you are, so you can kind of meet yourself where you are and set something more realistic that's going to fill the gap, right? Because if you are wanting to work out 6 days a week or 5 days a week or 3 days a week, but you're working out none, right? We can't just set the goal to work out 6 days a week, or that might be too big of a goal and it ends up not being accomplished, and then we feel defeated or disappointed, right? It's not realistic enough. So we might need to set a smaller goal that is more achievable, right? So we do a process of figuring out what you actually want, where you are, and then we figure out what's going to fill the gap, okay? Which is step 2. So step 1 is look at what you want, right? Look at the areas of your life, figure out what those goals are. Step 2, what's going to fill the gap to where you are currently to where you want to be, right? So a good example of this is if you want more energy, or you want to wake up early, right? So let's say that that's the goal. But where you are currently is that you're not sleeping through the night, or you're going to bed super late, right? So that's where you are currently, and that's where you want to be, is waking up earlier to maybe get more, like have a morning routine or get more done in the morning, or having more quality sleep so that you can have more energy, right? So your first step, or the actual goal that you're trying to achieve, is more quality sleep and going to sleep earlier, right? Because if you get more quality sleep, you're going to have more energy. If you go to sleep earlier, you should be able to wake up earlier, right? But then you can go deeper, right? What are the roadblocks? What are the obstacles? What are the things that are hanging you up, right? What's causing you to not have good quality sleep? Or what's causing you to go to bed late, right? So this is just a general example, because I'm not working with anybody individually here, but a general example as to why you might have poor quality of sleep is if you're eating really late at night. Because what happens is when we eat really late at night, it spikes our metabolism, which our body starts to try to heat up, and our ability to kind of go into detox mode kind of gets messed up. So that digestive gets turned on, detox gets turned off, and we're working really hard. And it can be hard to actually either fall asleep or stay asleep, because our body is in overdrive. It's kind of working really hard when we should be relaxing, detoxing, and sleeping, right? So that could be an example of why you're not getting quality sleep. So you thought that the goal was more energy, right? That was the big goal. The big goal is to have more energy. But we took a step back. Well, what do we need to have more energy? We need quality sleep. Well, why are we not getting quality sleep? Oh, we're eating too late at night. So the actual goal that you need to start with that's realistic is figuring out ways to stop eating late at night, right? What can you replace with that? What needs to be done to achieve that goal? Because if we can achieve not eating late at night, or whatever it is that's preventing quality sleep, then we can achieve quality sleep. Then we can achieve more energy, right? So we need to set a realistic goal, because another problem is we'll set these goals of like having more energy or waking up earlier, but we're not backtracking to figure out why, like where do we actually need to start, or what's actually hanging us up, right? If we want to wake up earlier, we need to go to sleep earlier, right? So that could be the first goal. But what's causing you to not go to sleep or stay up too late, right? Maybe you're sitting on your phone too long, or you're watching TV, right? So the first goal, or the first step, is to actually figure out how can you actually put your phone away or turn the TV off at a certain time so that you can fall asleep quicker and go to bed earlier so you can wake up earlier, right? So you've got to do like a process of what's the ultimate goal, where are you currently, and how can you work backwards to figure out what the actual first step to the goal is, which is usually the hang up. Like, so we figure out what the goal is, what do we need to have the goal, right? Better sleep or sleeping earlier, right? For example, and what's preventing us from already doing that? The hang up. The hang up is actually our first step. We've got to figure out how to overcome the hang up. Now, that leads me into the expectations portion of this training, right? So sometimes we have expectations that it's going to be easy to achieve our goal, or we have expectations that the work is not going to be, or the work, we're going to enjoy doing the work, right? Sometimes we can think that we're going to enjoy eating better or working out more or whatever the case is. So sometimes we set up these unrealistic expectations for the work that we have to do. Additionally, so for example, are you wanting the result to something, right? Do you only want to do something, right? Do you only want more energy and not want to do the things that you have to do to get there, right? Are we only going to be joyful if we have more energy? Can we switch our mindset to being joyful for doing the things to help us get more energy? How can we be grateful that we're going to pay attention to our body cycles? Like, for example, if you want more energy and you're not getting quality sleep, and you start to make your actual goal to have meal time and to make sure that you're not eating too late at night, right? How can we be grateful that we are getting our body in a cycle of eating properly, right? How can we be excited that we're pursuing something instead of doing it, right? Because sometimes fighting hunger or self-discipline or working hard or doing things that are uncomfortable or that stretch us, 9 out of 10 times they're not enjoyable. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I'm ever going to enjoy hardcore workouts or, difficult yoga or fighting my hunger urges. Like, I don't think I'm ever actually going to enjoy doing that work. What I enjoy is that I care enough about myself to really do it, right? To allow myself to be disciplined enough to do it. And that is what builds self-discipline. And then also being okay with the fact that it's not going to be fun, right? Like, why is it okay that it's going to be hard? Why? And how can you start to program yourself to start feeling good about doing hard things? Because here's the thing, we're always going to have to do things that we don't feel like doing. So if we can program ourselves to do things that we don't feel like doing, but that need to be done in our job or with our children or with our pets or things of this nature, we have the same ability to do that for our self-work, right? For our personal development or our self-care, right? We have the ability. So we know if you have children, I guarantee you are doing things for your children that you don't feel like doing, but you do it anyways because it has to be done, right? If you have pets, I guarantee the same thing. If you have a job, I guarantee the same thing. So let that be evidence that you are capable of it. And then focus on being proud of yourself or excited or find joy in the pursuit of the goal, not the task or the goal itself, right? Figure out. So there was a book that I read by Jay Shetty, and it talks about how people can set these goals, and it talks about how it's easy to set a goal and to think about wanting that goal so bad, but where we mess up is we don't think about the work that goes into the goal and finding ways to enjoy that uncomfortability, that struggle, that pressure, that shift, that stretch that we're going to feel, right? Because in order to become something or change something or achieve something, there's going to be a period of uncomfortability because we're fighting old habits, right? Because in order for you to have more energy, you're going to need more quality sleep. You're going to have to fight the habit of eating late at night or whatever it is, right? Or same if you want to wake up earlier and you'll have to go to bed earlier. So you'll have to fight the habit of getting on your phone or watching TV, right? So it's all about fighting those habits, and it's all about finding joy in the pursuit of fighting the habit. So that way, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be uncomfortable. It just means that you have this mindset of it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay because I'm growing. It's okay because I'm going this way. It's okay because I'm progressing, right? Like, how can you fall in love with the progress? How can you fall in love with the challenge? How can you fall in love with the uncomfortability? And how can you expect it, right? How can you expect these goals or these changes to be difficult and be okay with it, right? So I think a lot of us have these expectations that we're going to be good at something the first time we do it, or that it's going to be fun to work out, or whatever the case may be, right? So think about your goals. And I'm not saying that you might not one day enjoy working out, or that you might not want, enjoy X, Y, and Z, the goal itself. But if you set yourself up for the expectation that that is the way it's going to be, and you don't leave room for you to feel fearful or challenged or uncomfortable, then that uncomfortability, those fears, can cause you to run or avoid or do it tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes, right? So if you can build a relationship with your expectations, and also too, the outcome, being really attached to the results can make you give up sometimes too. I remember I've had workout goals or nutrition goals, and my goal was to lose a certain amount of pounds. And after a month or two of doing that thing, right, and I felt like I was working really hard, but I wasn't seeing the results that I was attached to, I gave up, right? And I was like, well, I got to do something different. And I stopped staying consistent. But if I could have been more open-minded to, oh, well, yeah, I would like to lose 20 pounds or whatever the goal is, right? But I'm also open to just being stronger. I'm also open to just loving my body more. I'm also just open to being proud of working out in general, right? So what if you can have the result? You can have the goal in mind, right? The goal might be to lose the XYZ pounds or whatever. But why can't there be more to it? Or why can't we be more excited? Or how can we be more excited for the process of it, or the other things that might come from consistently working out, right? Loving your body, feeling strong in your body, giving yourself self-care. Like, why can't that be a win, right? Like, oh, I worked out today, I checked that off of my self-care list, like that's, like, let it be a daily win. Look for the wins, and maybe just practice not being attached to a certain result or an outcome before you celebrate, right? Celebrate the doing of it, celebrate the pursuit of it, and celebrate all parts of the result. Because sometimes we get focused on a specific result, right? Like, oh, I'm going to work towards this until I make this much money, right? That's a great goal to have that income or financial goal, have that goal. But what else can you celebrate? What else might come from it, right? Are you building connections and relationships with people? Can you celebrate that? Are you helping people over here because you're pursuing your dreams? Can you celebrate that, right? Like, why do we have to only focus on the one goal and determine that we're successful if we've reached that goal, right? You're going to feel more successful. You're going to feel more capable when you're looking at your goals for all parts and aspects that go into it. And when you are being more grateful for the pursuit and celebrating the fact that you did the thing anyways, and choosing to let that be the result or the win, right? So it's the expectations, it's the attachment to a specific result. Like, we're not successful unless we reach a specific result, right? It's changing these things just a little bit. So in review, the first step is to figure out what your goals are. Think about the big 5 areas of your life and figure out what the goals are. Be honest with yourself where you are currently versus where you actually want to be, so that you can move into step 2, which is working backwards a little bit and figuring out how you can fill in the gap, right? Because if you're here and you want to be here, you've got to figure out what's going to help you get here, right? So fill in the gap, go backwards, and figure out, what do you need, right? What do you need to accomplish this? And then what stops you from getting here, right? So what's hanging you up? What's the obstacle? What's the excuse? What's the habit? What's the behavior that's getting in the way of you having the thing that you need, right? So for the example, you want more energy. What do you need to have more energy? More quality sleep. What's stopping you from having quality sleep? Eating too late at night, right? And this is just an example. This doesn't mean it's what you guys are going through. I'm just giving you guys a process, right? So do your process. Go back, figure out what the actual first step is, or the first thing you're going to need to overcome or change in order to achieve the ultimate goal, right? Break it down so you have a process, and then look, don't be attached to a certain outcome of the result, right? So maybe more than just more energy is going to come from not eating late at night, right? Maybe our digestive or our gut health is going to get better, or maybe we just feel better. Maybe we don't feel as bloated, right? Look for all of the wins and look for all the things that is going to benefit you, and be grateful for the daily wins, right? Oh, I'm not as bloated this morning when I woke up, right? That's a daily win that you can look forward to by doing the thing that you're doing, so that you are getting a little bit of that instant gratification that we want, that prevents us from self-discipline sometimes. And then also, how can you build a relationship with the fact that self-discipline or working towards your goals and being uncomfortable is okay? How can you accept that it's going to be hard? How can you be okay with the fact that it will stretch you, that it will be uncomfortable, that it's not always going to be fun? And sometimes we're not going to feel like doing it, but we need to do it anyways. Again, if you are doing that for your children, if you're doing that for your pets, or you're doing that for your work or any other situation, I guarantee you're probably doing that in almost all areas of your life, except for maybe yourself, which is the most common thing, right? It can be, it can seem like we have no choice but to do things that we don't feel like doing for our children, our pets, our significant other, our job, right? Because there's a consequence, right? There's a consequence to not doing it for those things, right? Oh, our kids have to survive. Oh, our husband will leave us. Oh, we'll get fired, right? So there's a consequence if we don't do things for the other areas of our life, even if we don't feel like it, right? But we haven't really recognized the true consequence of not applying that to ourselves, right? If our mind and our body starts to shut down because we're not applying that same consequence to ourselves, everything else goes away anyways. And it's painful to deal with disease. It's painful to deal with poor health. It's painful to end up in the hospital. And it's all of the rest of it doesn't matter. If all you're focused on is if you have not filled your cup up or applied that self-discipline to your own self, right? And you end up in that situation, the relationships are disconnecting because you can't focus on anything but trying to survive. The business is failing because you can't focus on anything but trying to survive. There is a real consequence for not applying that self-discipline to yourself. If you can apply it to any of your other areas of your life, you can apply it to you. So I hope this was helpful. I know I got a little bit serious on you guys there for a minute, but I really hope that this was helpful. I hope this changes some sort of perspective out there. I hope this gives you guys an idea of self-discipline is not always going to be fun, but sometimes, actually almost all the time, it is necessary. You have it in multiple areas of your life. You are probably more disciplined than you realize you are. You just maybe don't feel like it because you're having trouble being disciplined in personal development, but you have the capability. You've just got to find a big enough reason why to go for it, and then to just do it even when you don't feel like doing it. If you can do it for your kids, if you can do it for your animals, if you can do it for your job, your parents, your lovers, you can do it for you. I know that you guys have gotten really attached to the consequences of not doing it for others, but there's consequences for not doing it for yourself too. So figure that out, remember it, and apply it to you as well, because you do deserve it. And everybody that you are doing it for doesn't want to lose you, right? You don't want to lose them. They don't want to lose you just as much. So you've got to do it for you too. This isn't just for you. Doing it for you isn't just for you. It's for everybody who's connected to you and loves you and wants, and for the parts of the world that need you, right? So think about that too. It's not just for you. You doing things for you is not just for you. It is for your group, your circle, your purpose in the earth, whether you figured it out yet or not. But it is for the greater good to do this stuff for yourself. Namaste, guys. I love you guys all. I'll be looking in the comments to see if you guys have any comments. I see. Thank you, Reese. Oh, yes. Thank you for being here. Let me know if this all made sense to you guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions. And I hope this was helpful. And I'll see you guys next week.